Using last year's Christmas tree, I made 3 different ornaments at 3 different levels of difficulty. Let me explain. We're what you might call an outdoors family, with a healthy dose of DIY. Cutting our own Christmas tree in national forests is a tradition that we've had for years. And now with my little boy along for the adventure, I wanted to make a small keepsake to market. Last year I saved a chunk of our tree, and like a little nudge from St. Nick, it fell out of storage this week to remind me.
The first and definitely easiest on the list is just to cut a wafer out of your old stump. You can write something on it, have your kid put a fingerprint on it, which we might do. But just sand it and wailing on it so much it got a lot of heat, and it kind of sealed it up nicely just from the friction of a dull sander. And I'll just put a little...
I was honestly nervous I was going to stab myself just rewatching this. Anyway, once the poking is done, I finish off the ornament with an eyelet and some string, which if I'm being fully honest, took me about 1.5 minutes to tie. But hey, it looks pretty fancy in the end.
Count yourself lucky that I cut most of that tying process.
For the intermediate ornament, we're back to the full-size log. I'm turning this one on the lathe, but to make things a little easier, I'm using the bandsaw first to nip off the branch knobs, so it's not so unpredictable when it spins.
This has been drying for a year, and that might not be enough, because just cutting those little nubs off, there's little sap polyps. Now I'm hoping that's maybe just underneath the surface here.
It was indeed just under the surface, so no more exposition. Let's mark center, lock in a backing plate, and start turning.
It's worth saying, I'm not an experienced turner. I just turn things as needed. Furniture legs and the like. Third, I forgot. It's sappy. Throw on an apron to try to combat some of the sap that's coming out. It's just this outer layer. The wood beneath it is in pretty good shape. Man, if you're not watching Outdoor Boys reruns while you're turning wood...
Obviously don't watch anything while you're turning, except the wood. I just mean have Outdoor Boys playing in the background while something comes together on your lathe. How good is Luke though, right?
It's pretty alright. Let's wax it up. You still recording? I hope so.
That just about wraps up our intermediate ornament as we fat finger another one of these eyelets in and mercifully managed to tie the ribbon a little faster this time. And now for the third and final ornament. The most technical one, and the one that I'd hesitate to recreate, unless you like your woodworking with a tiny side of danger. It's inspired by a rotating axis metal working project. Different pattern, more unpredictable vibe. I've drilled 5 axes into these little cubes that hold the stump, and now I need a jig to secure for some very questionable table saw cuts. My favorite jig method is simple. Get it in position, let some thin superglue seep into the cracks to lock it in place, and once that's set, back it with a few nails on the other side.
This part is experimental, but I think it'll work. At least in my head it works. So, not always the most reliable modeling software.
I'm using these blocks on the end to control exactly where the center of rotation is on the log. By shifting the support position from one drill hole to another, I can change the axis it spins on. That's what creates this camshaft effect. Each hole gives me a different rotational axis to work from.
If you don't have a TV that you turn on specifically for sanding in your shop, go on Marketplace and get a free TV. It's makes things easier. That's pretty well it, and I really like the way it looks with the actual stump still attached. A heavier ornament. Obviously don't cut like that. It's like an ornament Christmas tree. There's 3 different ornaments out of last year's tree at 3 different skill levels and degrees of danger. I'm really chuffed with how this middle one came out. Chuffed? Haven't said that very often. I'm really pleased with how this middle one turned out. Mimicking the impossible shape. But I like them all. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you make some of these too. Start a little family tradition.